Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask Profit here on NDTV Profit. I'm Hersh Sayta, and with me is Anushi Vakharia as well. And of course, you can send in your queries. This is that show where we take viewer queries and we'll have our experts answer them. And you can send in your queries, number flashing at the bottom of your screens. But let's quickly take a check on where markets are at. The Nifty 50, well, just about holding in the green, around a 1/5% higher. We slipped slightly from the morning, but extremely marginal in that sense. The high of 638 and the low of 522 indicates a very tight kind of a band in which the Nifty seems to be moving in at. Let's pull up some Nifty 50 counters which are buzzing. You're seeing Hindalco move. You're seeing LTI Mindtree higher in trade. You're seeing Shriram Finance and BPCL also gaining. Some of the oil and gas counters doing fairly well in trade today. Let's pull up some of those. HPCL, GAIL, Oil India, all of them up around 1.8 to 2.5 odd percent. So you're seeing good gains on some of those counters. Of course, windfall tax being one of the reasons why. But we will come to that. We'll try and bring that into focus, and that is, or those are the stocks in focus for today. But let's pull up the Nifty mid cap and small cap. Let's see at the broader end of the spectrum what exactly is playing out. And the Nifty mid cap up around 0.4 odd percent, and the Nifty small cap too doing very well in trade in comparisons. The broader market seeing a bit of outperformance there, 1.5% or so higher on the Nifty small cap. Let's pull up the advanced decline to see where the breadth of the market is tilted towards, especially on a day like this. There you go. The advance is really dominating despite the benchmark being absolutely flat. So you're seeing good traction in broader markets. Outside of all of that, let me also pick up sectors. Let's pull up the sectoral heat map. Oil and gas, of course, doing very well in trade. Realty largely flat among the small and the mid-cap sectors. But you're seeing some pressure on the Nifty Auto, down around 0.8 odd percent. The Nifty Media is up around 1.6%. The PSU Banking Index also up around 1.7 odd percent. So those are some of the sectors which are doing well. PSU Banks, Media doing well. IT up around 0.5% as well. FMCG also supporting the index around 0.5% higher. So those two are the ones supporting the index. That Bank Nifty absolutely flat in trade, at least up until now. We'll have to wait and watch how that plays out through the day as well as the rest of the week. But stock in focus today, Hindustan Zinc. Varsha joins in with more insights on what's happening, because the stock is down roughly 4.5 odd percent post that OFS that the holding company Vedanta has done. Varsha.
Well, thanks Harsh for that. So if you see, shares of Hindustan Zinc continued their downslide, down around 21% in last 4 days after Vedanta, that is its promoter, announced offloading stake in the company through OFS. Now shares were trading nearly 5%, which is close to floor price of around 486, and the offer for sale for retail investors is been opened as of today. Now the stock price dipped after Vedanta decided to further offload 0.29% stake in the company through OFS. Vedanta had planned to exercise green shoe option to sell additional 1.95% stake in the company. Earlier, the company had plans to sell around 5.14 crore equity shares, representing 1.22% of total equity and paid up share capital. Apart from this, the company had kept an additional option to sell up to 8.23 crore equity share, representing 1.95% of the total issued and paid up capital. Now, if you see the total equity shares from both the base offer size and the oversubscription option will represent almost 3.17%. Now, lastly, if you see this OFS is to fund growth, expansion and optimize capital structure.
Thank you for that, Varsha. Now it's time to introduce our guest for today. Sameer Dalal from Natwar Lal and Sons Stockbroker joins in, and Rajesh Walvia, Senior Vice President, Tech and Derivatives Research, Axis Securities. Hi and welcome to Ask Profit for today. Now, the first question is about Hindustan Zinc. The stock is under pressure. I'll come to you, Sameer. What is your view on this?
So the stock is under pressure because of the OFS. This was a very tightly held stock because almost, if you see, 95% was between the promoters and the government of India. There was a very small free float. So given the fact that Vedanta is selling some amount of stake, which is going to increase the free float, we are seeing a bit of correction in the stock. But at the end of the day, there are some good investors getting in even at these prices. So hopefully the stock holds. We do remain positive on Hindustan Zinc from the point of view that, the kind of businesses that they are in, which is the zinc production from the mining, all the way from the mining to the finished product. And also they have some amount of silver manufacturing. And we believe silver is going to remain in strong demand. They should have good profitability. But yes, for the time being, what could very well happen is because of the increased flow, the stock may see a sideways movement for some time.
Okay, Rajesh, let me come to you. Good morning. Your view with regard to this one, because clearly the float impacting the kind of move that the stock is making, you're in possibly in a better position to give us perspective.
Good morning, Hersh. So this is third consecutive month where we are seeing, downtick in Hindustan Zinc, and the way stock is now slipped below to all its near-term, short-term moving averages. We believe that furthermore weakness we could see in the stock prices going forward. Possibly, stock may slip further towards 480 to 475 kind of zone in the continuation of this down move. So till stock is trading below to 515, I think trend may remain on the weaker side for the near term perspective also. 475 would be the next target where we can see Hindustan Zinc to slide further.
Okay, so further slide expected. I think both guests concurring with that. But let's move on. Let's move on to viewer queries. Before I do that, let me put in a quick request for everyone writing in as well as tuning in. Help us with your names and where you are from, so that we can introduce your query better and will be better perspective for you. But let's switch over. First question from Mehul from Uttar Pradesh. His query is with regard to Salasar Techno. He holds 500 shares at 25 a piece. Samir, wanting your views from a long-term perspective. Should he hold? Should he sell?
Unfortunately, some of these counters, the smaller ones, we don't have coverage on, so no view on that one. Sorry.
Okay, Rajesh, could we have a technical view at all on this one?
So, Harsh, we don't track this stock actively, but looking at the chart, stock is moving in, downsloping channel. But in last couple of days, we have witnessed, strong buying action. Now stock is negotiating with its 50-day moving average. So looking at the near-term structure, there could be some up move we can see towards 20 to 22 rupees would be the next target for the stock on the higher side in this pullback. So those who have already bought at lower level can hold on with a trailing stop loss of 17 rupees.
Okay, so a stop loss of 17 and a target of about 22 that we are looking for Salasar Tech. But no, moving on to the next query is from Samshir from Kerala. He's holding shares of Jupiter Wagon, and that is at a price of about 612. I'll come to you on this for Rajesh over here. Should he continue to hold at these levels or sell at this price?
So if he has bought for the trading perspective, I think he should exit, because on the near-term, short-term structure is looking, slightly weaker at this juncture. But long-term structure is still bullish, and if he can hold on for long-term perspective, yes, he may hold on. As the overall long-term structure is still bullish and stock is holding above the long-term breakout level. So I think till stock is holding above 505, I think trend may remain on the bullish side. Once stock crosses above 570, 580 zone, then there is a high possibility that stock may again able to register new all-time high trajectory also, and then possible target towards 720 to 740 would be there. But it may take time. So I think if the time horizon is longer, then he can hold on the position.
Okay, Samir, let me come to you for this one. We have Rahul Panjiar, who's holding 30 shares of Bank of Maharashtra at 72 rupees a piece. Your recommendation on whether he should continue to hold, sell?
So my personal view is that he's probably bought it, after a very big run up, and what we are going through in the entire PSU banking space is a bit of distribution and consolidation. Because at the end of the day, these banks are not growing at very aggressive paces, right? So today, in India, what do we pay for? We pay for very strong growth, and we pay for strong fundamentals. So Bank of India's fundamentals have now caught up in place, but the growth is not there with the rest of the industry. So be it on the deposit side or be it on the loan growth side, I think there are other PSUs also. If he wants to be in a PSU which are growing at a better pace, we can look at that. Or alternatively, if he doesn't mind shifting to a private sector bank, my advice personally would be to book a loss in this one and get into something in the private sector space, which is growing more aggressively, where valuations are still very relatively attractive. So the two stocks that I would recommend, one is IndusInd Bank, if he wants a larger, slightly larger bank, and the other is IDFC First Bank. These are the two preferred banks that we have in the private sector banking space at the moment.
Okay, now moving on to the pharma space, and I'll stay with you, Samir, on this one. What's the future outlook of Lupin? In 1 year, we have seen the stock surging at roughly around 92%. So, what is your future outlook on Lupin in terms of fundamentals over here?
Look, on the fundamental side, everything is really good. From the fact that they are doing new product launches, they have new filings in the US, which are all going to slowly start getting approved and they'll start exporting. So the profitability for Lupin, we believe, will remain good. They also have the domestic business, which is doing well, and then they also have the diagnostic space that they've done some amount of expansion, which is also going to start contributing a bit to the uh, top line and the profitability. But that's again going to be a very small component. So the main profitability for Lupin does come from the international markets where they're doing well. The problem for me right now is the fact that the stock has seen a very strong run up. If you look at it in the last year and a half, I think it's gone up from all the way from 700 to 2,000 odd rupees. So given that strong run up that it has, we feel the stock should go into a period of consolidation because a lot of the positives that are known are factored in. So probably a sideways movement. If someone wants to buy, I think closer to 1,700 would probably be a buying opportunity for me, not at this given point of time.
Point taken. Let me go across to Rajesh. Rajesh, we have R. Shiva from Bengaluru holding 1,500 shares of GAIL at 224 rupees a piece. Wants a short-term outlook for this one.
So I think he may hold down the position as oil and gas sector is showing good traction in terms of buying and overall sector is looking bullish at this juncture. So GAIL may exhibit good amount of relief further higher and possible target on a short-term basis we can see towards 248 to 255. So I think he may now trail the stop loss to 232 to hold to continue his long position for upside target of 248 to 255.
All right, that's fair. Now, Samir, I want to come to you on this counter, which holds a lot of interest, that is on Mazagon Dock. Mazagon, in fact, the whole defense space has been in focus this year. Mazagon, if you look at the quarter's result, exceptional set of numbers with the deliveries being ahead of schedule, which has led to the EBITDA margin uptick that we are looking at. But other than that, some of the reports have come out which suggest, there has been, the stock is trading at higher valuations and citing about a 70% downtick on this one, specific, if we take ICICI report, for example. Now, Anto from Chennai wants to know outlook on in Mazagon Dock in specific. What is it looking in terms of fundamental basis? And not just Mazagon, in fact, even the whole defense space. How should one look at it considering the higher valuation it's trading at?
So, we've had this discussion actually a couple of times in the past as well. And what we've been saying is that we don't deny the fact that these companies which are in the defense space are getting great orders, which is going to lead to good revenue visibility for the next couple of years. And that is not going to change because the spending from defense is going to continue and Indian companies are going to get their fair share of the revenue. The problem simply, like you said, lies in the valuation front, right? These stocks have run up far more than what justification we can give. Secondly, these are long gestation periods. We are not denying that Mazagon will probably be able to deliver ahead of time, which they've said that they are doing. But there are gestations which can extend to 2 years and beyond. And when you have such long gestation periods, there could also be certain problems that could come along the path of executing these orders. Given the high valuation, it leaves almost no room for any sort of miss that the company can deliver. So from that point of view, we've been quite uh, opinionated about the fact that one should book profits and get out if you can. Maybe the long term is good, but even if I get a 4 or 5% CAGR return over the next 3 years, I don't think that's exceptional returns for an investment in India. I think there are better investments you can make. So my personal view in Mazagon and some of the other defense packs, which include Hindustan Aeronautics and Cochin Shipyard and all, is to take money off the table to book your profits and find something else to invest.
Yeah, that's an interesting rationale. Thank you for that. Let me go across to Rajesh with regard to IRM Energy. We have a viewer, Varsha Tilokchandani, who's holding 100 shares at 440 a piece. Your quick views on this one.
So our structure is weak. Stock is almost trading near to its all-time low trajectory. The way stock is making a low top, lower bottom formation, I think there is absence of strength in the stock on the across all time frame. So I think if you get any opportunity in any pullback comes around 425 to 430 kind of zone, I think one should exit from the stock as overall structure is still on the weaker side for the stock. So any pullback should be used as an exit opportunity in the stock.
The next question is Ola. It's on Ola, which has remained in focus for this past week. Khushi Ram wants to know on Ola. She has about 2,000 shares of Ola and at a price of about 118. Samir, I'll come to you on this one. She wants to understand the long-term targets for this stock.
It's difficult to give a target for this stock, but the long-term perspectives are very good. So, we've been saying for quite some time that the shift to the electric vehicle space is going to be quite quick once we reach the inflection point. And are we there at the inflection point? Probably not. We are probably a year away from that. So we believe that for the next, maybe 1 year, you will see these companies struggle a bit when it comes to growth and all. But once we reach that inflection point, the growth numbers will accelerate and then the operating leverages for these companies will start playing through. Secondly, with Ola Electric, the fact that they're manufacturing their own batteries, they're getting into that vertical, they're going to be able to get higher margins from that business and allow them to be more competitive when it comes to pricing. Given that they'll be able to capture even more market share. So we remain positive. Problem is, I would not buy right now. I would wait for corrections to buy. But given the person's gotten at a 118 odd levels, I would say hold on to it. And if it comes back lower, I would say add on to it from a long-term perspective. Like I said, difficult to give a target, but it could be maybe in the next 5 years, something that could give some exceptional returns.
Right, Samir, I'm going to stick with you before I go to Rajesh on both of these. With regard to Zomato, we have a viewer, Srinivas, who wants to understand views on Zomato. Now, he wants views both on Zomato and Ola. You've given your views on Ola. So talk to us about Zomato first off. Now that this steep run-up seems to have already happened, how do you view Zomato at current valuations versus from a purchase or sale perspective?
Okay, so Zomato can't be compared to anyone, so there's no versus. It's a question of whether you should own Zomato. So I believe someone should own Zomato. The question is, should we buy it right away? My simple answer is no. So we've seen a huge run-up. Now, I don't deny the fact that Blinkit has given Zomato, that little bit of push that it needed. Blinkit is something that turned around quite quickly and, is growing at a very rapid pace. But then competition in that space is also quite high. And it's only keeping on increasing. You have players like Zepto, you have Swiggy, Instamart, you have, multiple players who are doing the same kind of business. So competition is going to remain high, and which makes it difficult for me to say that this is now going to be a one-way up story. Also, you're going to look at this business of Zomato, which is the food delivery business, which is doing extremely well at this point of time. But whenever we do have economic slowdowns, and they will happen, and I believe we are probably going to see a bit of a slowdown maybe in the next year or so, you will see some amount of fall in revenue and profitability because, the operating leverage for this business is very high, given the fact that a lot of the costs are already sunk in. So when you see dips in orders, you will see the operating leverage playing a negative role. From that perspective, I think the stock should see a correction. So am I saying hold on to the stock if you're an investor? Yes. But if you are not, I would say wait for corrections closer to 200 or even 180 odd levels and then buy into it. But the long term, again, for this is a very good P2P.
All right. And coming to you on this, Rajesh, what about Zomato? How is it looking at?
So overall structure is bullish for Zomato, and the way stock has managed to break out of brief consolidation in last couple of days, that clearly shows that continuity of buying interest is there in the stock prices. Any minor dip should be used as a buying opportunity in the stock. On the downside, 250, 245 is the good support area for any corrective move if it comes in the near future. One should use this correction as a buying opportunity in the Zomato. On the higher side, we believe that the way stock is holding the ground at higher level, and the weekly, monthly chart structure are clearly indicating that we could see a target towards 300 to 320 in short term basis. So any decline should be used as a buying opportunity with a stop loss of 240.
Okay, and Rajesh, with regard to Ola, I know charts will be tough, but if at all you have a view.
So it's a very recent listing, but the way buying action and the volume is happening since last couple of days, it's clearly showing that we could see furthermore upward momentum in the continuation of this move. Possible target 160 we can see in the near term to short term. So I think those who've already bought at lower level can hold on and trail the stop loss now higher to 138. Possible target 155 to 160.
Okay, interesting. So continue to play Ola, both fundamental and technical. Rajesh, I'll stick with you. We have a viewer called Rajesh who's holding 12,800 Tata Power shares at 408 rupees a piece. Wants to know whether to hold or sell.
So Tata Power is underperforming since last couple of week. But if we analyze the broader in a broader sense, stock is consolidating in a range of 400 to 440, 450 kind of zone. A long-term structure is bullish, and looking at the long-term structure, there is a high possibility. I think there is a possibility that stock may attempt to view breakout on the higher side. And once stock manages to cross above 440, 450 zone, stock may, continue upward momentum to 500 to 540 kind of target on the higher side. So I think he may hold on the position as his structure is bullish. 400 should be your stop loss if you want to keep any stop loss for near term, short term trading perspective. But for long term investor, yes, he may hold on the position for upside target of 540.
Okay, so now moving on to you, Samir, for the next query is from Khurshid Nakash, Srinagar. He's holding about 55 GSK Pharma shares at about 2,255 a piece. Should he continue to hold at these levels or sell?
Sadly, as good as the company this is not under active coverage, so no comment.
I'll come to you, Rajesh, for this one then. How is GSK Pharma shares looking at you on charts?
So overall structure for GSK Pharma is on the bullish side, and the way stock is trading about to 2,900, we believe that there would be further more buying interest is likely to be there in the stock, as a series of higher top higher bottom formation is taking place in this stock. Possible target 3,100 to 3,200 could be there in the near term to short term perspective. So I think he may hold on the position with stop loss of 2,900.
Okay, and Rajesh, we have Sameer from Kolkata wanting to understand your views with regard to PVR. 1770 a piece is what he holds the stock at. Should he continue to hold or sell?
There is some recovery in the PVR from the lower level, but still looking at the near-term, short-term structure, there is a steep resistance or supply zone around 1600 to 1640. So until the stock not crosses above 1640, it may remain in a range of 1640 to 1540. This would be the range for a near-term to short-term perspective. I think in pullback, try to exit around 1640 zone if it comes. At this juncture, your stop loss should be placed at around 1470 to hold the position for pullback.
All right. Thank you so much, Rajesh, Sameer, for joining us today, taking out time and giving and answering all the questions coming in from our viewers. But with that, completely out of time on this edition of Ask Profit. More on the other side. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit.